With the Battle of Pea Ridge lost by the Confederates, formal warfare ended in Missouri. Unfortunately, though, the Civil War would continue to be fought as many Missourians would use guerrilla warfare tactics in fighting each other and fighting the people of Kansas. Missourians who claimed to be supporting the Confederacy used guerrilla warfare tactics and joined unofficial militias were called bushwhackers. Kansans, who joined unofficial militias, used guerrilla warfare tactics, and claimed to be supporting the Union, were called Jayhawkers. Both of these were unofficial guerrilla armies, and they used cruel tactics to force their enemies into submission. One of the first large-scale military movements of the Jayhawkers occurred on September 23, 1861. In an attempt to push pro-Southern elements out of Osceola, Missouri, an informal group of pro-Union Kansans burned the town of 2,077 people to the ground. The guerrilla soldiers stole everything of value, freed 200 slaves, and killed 9 citizens, who the Jayhawkers accused of supporting the Confederacy. This would be the first of several towns to be attacked along the Missouri-Kansas border. Bushwhackers were busy within the state of Missouri. They hit any target in Missouri that they considered to have sympathy for the Union. They were increasingly angered by how Union forces had treated Missourians. William Quantrell was perhaps one of the most famous bushwhackers and planned for a devastating attack on Lawrence, Kansas. Lawrence was seen as the anti-slavery stronghold in the state, and more importantly, a staging area for Union forces and Jayhawker incursions into Missouri. On the morning of August 21, 1863, William Quantrell and 450 guerrilla warriors rode into Lawrence, Kansas, and did as much destruction as they could in 4 hours' time. They killed at least 150 people and did so much destruction that Quantrell and his raiders would have to disband and to go into hiding. Now, only 4 days later, the Union forces that are in Missouri are going to respond right here in Cass County, Missouri. Right now I'm standing in Harrisonville, Missouri. This is a recreated recreated cabin, but it's sitting in a district called the Burnt District. It's called the Burnt District because when the Union responds, they're going to essentially tell every Confederate-leaning farmer in Cass County, Jackson County, and 2 other counties, get out. Either you must be allegiant to the Union or you must get out of these 4 counties. All 4 of these counties side right up with Kansas. And it's been thought that many farmers would, in the middle of the night, cross over into Kansas, do havoc in Kansas, and then come right back over here to Cass County or Jackson County or wherever, and then act like nothing happened, and making it really hard for the Union to prosecute those Confederates. They're going to offer something called, or issue something called, General Order 11. General Order 11 says, if you are allegiant to the Confederacy, get out of Cass County. You don't have a right to be here. The Union soldiers will start a gigantic fire, and the fire will just be allowed to blaze across the entire county, destroying farm after farm after farm. The fire does not discriminate, really, between Confederate and Union farmer. The fire, once it's started, it keeps on blazing, and thus that's why I'm standing in the area called the Burnt District. While many Missouri Confederates had to evacuate their homes due to General Order 11, William Quantrell was far away in Texas. Throughout the winter of 1863 through 1864, Quantrell's army fell apart. William Quantrell and Bloody Bill Anderson parted ways. Quantrell would spend 1864 trying to avoid being arrested, while Bloody Bill Anderson would return to Missouri at the request of Sterling Price. Anderson was to do everything possible to disrupt the Union Army in northern Missouri. On September 27, 1864, Anderson and 80 of his men captured a train of Union soldiers headed back home. All of the Union soldiers were executed with one exception. While Anderson did strike fear into the hearts of any Union sympathizer of northern Missouri, both Anderson and Quantrill would be dead within the year. Even though there was relatively little formal fighting in Missouri from 1862 through 1864, many Missourians still died as Missouri bushwhackers tried to influence Missourians to join the Confederacy, and Kansas Jayhawkers tried to punish Missourians who were sympathetic to the Confederacy.